Everything's changed.
Huh?
There aren't any new doors. What? There's nowhere to go? What was the point of eliminating all the other paths?
Come on.
Don't start with that again. How about you help us for a change?
Yeah, it's been a fun
You
game.
better cooperate, unless you want to get chopped up by Master Solution Blade.
Hold on, Shinigami.
Famous, also, you were asking, it's been about 25 hours, somewhere between 25 and 30 hours for playtime.
I don't want to get chopped up. I dislike pain immensely.
But he always says he wants to
But
die.
You know, the journey up to now wasn't a waste. We did eliminate many possibilities.
Yeah?
But that means nothing if we can't reach the truth.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Why do you want the truth in the first place?
Huh?
That's actually a valid
It's
question.
easy to say you want the truth. But are you sure you can handle it?
It's similar to Danganronpa in the sense that you are seeking the truth, and the truth costs you a friend. Obviously, it killed someone else, but it's going to cost you a friend and bring you despair. Especially in this case with the culprit dying, it's still a negative that comes with it. But it's like you're trading a negative for another negative. In the first case, if they pinned it on the clockmaker, he dies. So you just traded a death. In that case too. Chapter 1, we traded, like you see where I'm going. You're trading a death of someone for a death of someone else. Is that positive? Depends on who you ask.
No matter how cruel the truth may be.
I don't like that you're getting up in my
Can
space like that.
handle it?
I'm still not sure if you're the kind of person who can. I bet you're not sure either. That's why you're still so hesitant. This Mystery Labyrinth also reflects your reluctance. Maybe that's why you can't reach the truth.
What are you talking about? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I won't hesitate to expose the truth.
So you still haven't realized it? Guess you're not quite there yet. Well, that's fine for now. But eventually, you'll be forced to make a choice. When that happens, you have to prove your conviction and expose the truth, like you said.
Yeah, I've never
Enough
seen,
nonsense.
so I'm not
Let's
sure.
find some clues.
He's definitely an interesting
As an
character for
apology
sure.
for the distraction, let me tell you something. This labyrinth appears to change shape by reflecting our investigation.
Okay.
So, instead of following the revealed path, isn't it possible to carve your own path?
Carve my own path? That's right, Shinigami! We can create new routes with our own deductions. Maybe we can do it here.
Sometimes, just a slight change in perspective is enough to completely change how you see things.
That's very true.
So if I change my perspective here, I might see something new. I see. I was so focused on how to overcome the security system. But that's not right. I need to change my perspective and think about who could have overcome it.
I'm a pal.
Don't box yourself in with your own assumptions.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
I hate when the anemic vampire tells us what to do. But if Master wants to... Then fine. I'll lend you my power. Lay it all out, Master. Let's work together as a team.
Yep. So that is correct.
You can go, go, go! Go, go, go!
Was I right? I gave Famous my thoughts. We'll see if I end up being right. So I put a lot of thought into this case. I don't want to admit to how much, but I put a lot of thought into this case. Like, I worked 10 hours today, and I was thinking about this for the majority, at least the first 6 hours. Maybe not so much the last 4, the first 6 hours. I was thinking about this case a lot. Just thinking about this game in general.
A new route appeared.
This all thanks to me.
Perhaps I said too much. Well, nothing has been solved yet.
Stop being so depressing, dude.
I wish you'd express yourself a little better. How can we tell if you're happy or sad?
I've never been happy or sad in my entire life. I want to die someday.
This guy's hopeless!
Anyway, let's explore this new route.
Alright. Last snack for the night. No, nothing else. Love these cookies. I think they're mini cookies. I've been giving a lot to my niece and nephew too. Oh, I was like, wait, why did it click? It clicked because Shinigami.
When you think about who could get past security, the only option we know of is Amapao.
True, and that's how we were able to get through security ourselves.
But it's just a toy robot, right? How is it related to the case?
I don't know yet, but since Amapal can get through security, it must be important.
I'm starting to think that my deduction was right.
It's sealed off here, too.
Hey, there's an intercom. Maybe someone will respond if you use it.
No way. Huh? Doctor?
Huh? Wait. What the? Wait. Who are you? Help! Somebody come help me!
Isn't this the footage of when the doctor was attacked?
Yeah, you're right.
The mystery materialized. It must be related to what the doctor just said.
That is the one thing that I have been stuck on though, because I thought he was looking to the right when he said that. And if he was looking to his right, that means that he was looking at the door, which was before we got in, which is why I was so confused and why I keep, like, it's the one thing that keeps making me question myself.
So the question is, who did the doctor say, who are you, to? Well, I'll leave it to you.
it how you can keep reading at a time like this.
This is the question. It's not Amapal because we didn't have Amapal. Technically, it couldn't be the culprit if my... So what I'm thinking is the culprit was on Amapal. Me and Famous were talking about this before I started the stream. That the culprit jumped on Amapal, so the culprit was waiting in that duct. Jumped on, because remember when we went in that room, there was like static, and it's like an awkward, like, it's like you got stunned somehow. So my thought is that's how he got in. He, she, whatever. That's how the culprit got in. So you just eat the toxic gas, but then when we open the door, you're able to get in and kill the doctor. That's the only thing I can think is possible. But this has kept making me come back to that thought, though. Because if he was looking to his right, that meant he was looking at the door. But no one... He was in there for 90 days. No one was in there with him. Because I imagine if you're in there for 90 days, eventually you would have to be seen somehow, right? There was nowhere to hide. But this confusing me. Like, why would he say that? But it can't be the culprit, because the culprit wasn't in there. If I'm thinking that the culprit wasn't in there. It's the only thing I can think of.
The trap didn't activate. Does that mean we found the right answer? Huh? So the right answer is no one? Why would the doctor say, "Who are you?" if no one was there?
The security was still active at the time, so no one could enter the doctor's lab, right? And that was before I borrowed Amapel. So the only explanation is that no one was there.
Why would he say that if no one was there?
I think if we go there, we'll find the answer.
What? That route's obviously just a side road. Who cares what the old geezer was thinking anyway?
But it looks like this is the only way we can go. Besides, I am curious about what was going through his mind. It could be an important factor in solving the mystery behind this case.
Still, being forced to take a side route is too much trouble. Makes me wish I was dead.
So, Master, do you have an idea about what the geezer was thinking?
Not yet, but I think it has to do with why he said, "Who are you?" I think the doctor was putting on an act.
An act? Really?
The doctor put on an act for a reason, but I have no idea why. We have to figure that out by going down this doctor's motive route.
That's interesting.
He's here too?
You rats keep scurrying around. Do you really think you'll discover Dr. Weska's motive this way? Good luck with that, morons! He had no motive at all!
Well, he said there's nothing here. Let's head back.
We can't do that! If he's trying to block our path, then this route must be important.
Nah, fine.
I'm only here because you maggots piss me off. So, I'm gonna end you here and now!
Alright, well.
This was all part of the doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Wesker put his soul into his work. The research was going well.
Oh, it wasn't.
The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu. There's no way he'd betray us.
That last one is wrong. You're thinking about it, Dr. Wesker had no reason to pretend. But he had to be pretending. That's the only way this makes any sense. So why would he do that? I'm sure he had a good reason. I just need to find evidence proving it.
This was all part of the doctor's plan?
I'm pretty sure it's this. Because he was planning on leaving, so his loyalty only went so far.
That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Wesker put his soul into his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu.
I was kind of hesitating on like his research was going well, but he had a project that was dumped.
No, the doctor was planning on betraying Amaterasu Corporation. He was trying to escape Kanai Ward. He said so in the messages he wrote.
You little...
I feel like I'm still missing something, but why would you fake like someone was there?
Yumi's rebuttal. What was that? What was he trying to deny? Why was he covering up the doctor's motives?
It seems that this case involves the inner workings of Amaterasu.
Right. The doctor was going to betray Amaterasu. And whoever he was emailing knew that.
And Makoto said,
The doctor locked himself in the lab to protect himself from that person.
Perhaps the doctor's act had something to do with that.
hmm?
It's the security gate. Everything's locked up.
How did the doctor plan to escape Kanai
Which
Ward?
means this is a complex problem. We have to choose the right door and insert the correct solution key.
This is way more hassle than before. Guess I'll leave it to you, Yuma.
As always.
Blackout, terrorist bombing, swapping places. Swapping places? Well, the blackout wouldn't have mattered. How would you be able to escape? Because you still had to get up the elevator. Swapping places. Not a bombing. I don't get how, well, it's definitely not a bombing. I don't get how a blackout works. Because he would still have to be able to get past people and get out. Swapping places, I feel like it's that, but I don't know exactly how that works. So that confuses me. But I think it's this. Well, it's not even that I think it's that, it's just a process of elimination from the other two. Am I right?
Oh, the door actually opened. I knew I could let Yuma handle it.
Are you sure you aren't a phantom?
I don't feel very confident in this. I think I may need an explanation. No shot. To try and disfigure himself so he could leave?
So the doctor tried to swap places with someone else to escape from Amaterasu. The notes he left behind in the lab hinted at his plan.
You mean the diagram with the sulfuric acid being poured on someone?
Yeah, he was going to swap places with a corpse, then melt it with acid. He wanted to disfigure it beyond recognition. That's how he planned to fake his own death.
At the very least, it'd buy him enough time to escape Kanai Ward. Or so he thought.
Wow! Melting a corpse with sulfuric acid?
Whoops. Should have gotten me calm down.
Yay! So cool and grotesque! So who was the substitute supposed to be?
Maybe the hitman. The doctor was under surveillance by Amaterasu, but he was still looking for
So
a
maybe he
chance
was
to
the one that
escape.
called for the hitman, not Makoto.
When he learned a hitman was after him, he figured his chance had arrived.
Oh
The
no.
doctor
Okay.
was hoping to use the security system to kill the hitman and use the body as a decoy.
Now that I think about it,
That makes a lot of
doctor
sense.
did seem to be waiting for the hitman to arrive.
The hitman hasn't arrived yet. When will he show up? Don't tell me this so-called first-rate hitman was captured by peacekeepers.
But the hitman never did show up. That's why the doctor had a sudden change of plans.
And that was the act he put on by asking, "Who are you?"
Perhaps that was a trap to lure you in, Yuma.
He was trying to lure Master?
He considered taking advantage of the detectives, since the hitman never showed up. So if he called for help, he would charge into the lab, not knowing anything about the security system. And thereby, acquire the corpse he needed as his decoy.
That seems overly complicated. Like those guys who overthink asking girls out.
Well, he couldn't have used another researcher. Someone would have noticed their absence.
Sure.
He needed visitors. People from outside to pull it off.
Wow, like that thought never crossed my mind at all.
So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab,
You'd be a super sexy skeleton right now. Aw, so close.
you want that?
he actually got boom killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder?
Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet.
So then if the
In
timeline
other
fits,
words, the culprit entered the lab after that exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter?
okay, now we're getting somewhere. They entered with Amapal. It's the only sign of anyone getting in the lab. So that means that you had to be on top of Amapal. So it makes sense now. Oh.
Where are we?
This place is a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out.
Huh? Shinigami?
Yeah! Master! This looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer?
I
Monokuma.
haven't said anything yet.
It's voting time. The culprit entered the lab before Amapal. That is a no.
Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside. Now then, here's our fateful fork in the road. It's life or death! We're at the crossroads of mystery and solution. This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose?
Nice art style too. The answer is no. Wait, no. The answer. Whoa, hold on. The culprit entered the lab before Amapal. I said that the culprit was on top of Amapal. That's a possibility because that's the only known time that that door was open. But technically that means you went in before. So yes. But we are the ones that opened the door.
When I directed Amapal to go into the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him. Which means he was murdered before Amapal entered the doctor's lab.
Your answer? Is correct! Congratulations, Master! Would you like to double down?
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered.
Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapal entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him.
So the most likely time would be when you went to borrow Amapal, Master.
No,
The culprit had to have entered the lab then.
but the door was never
But
open.
Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapal.
Mm-hmm.
She said no one entered or left the lab.
It's starting to make sense now because when Chief Yaku ran off on his own, he could have went up there and waited. That's a possibility.
Huh? We're back on the original path.
Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now.
I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit got in. Yuma, there's no need to push yourself if things get too hard.
No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it.
Where was the culprit before the crime?
This is a map of the critical lab.
So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder.
We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery.
If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma?
You had to be in the duct.
Here. The culprit must have been here. After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber,
You already had to be in
when
there.
we went to borrow Amapal, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There. The culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime.
But I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime.
Think about like
So
before and
you think
after
the
there.
culprit was in there before the crime too?
It's the only way.
Yeah, the culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapal into the airlock.
And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapal to the doctor's lab.
Mm-hmm.
So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapal could get past security, right?
Yeah, that's the next big question.
Maybe the culprit used another Amapal unit.
There's only the one.
No, the researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapal.
Which means the Amapal Yuma controlled was the only one that could get past security.
So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapal to get into the doctor's lab.
Yeah, that's the only way. But how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figure that out.
Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out?
What is it?
How about giving up? I'm getting tired.
Nope, motion denied. Another fork in the road? Such a complicated mystery labyrinth.
Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of this mystery.
Well, it wasn't a weapon. I don't want to say it was a shield. But it's either a shield or neither. Because technically you could see how it's a shield because basically it's your guidance to get inside.
What do you mean, use Amapal as a shield?
Amapal is supposed to be sturdy enough to withstand an elephant stepping on it, right?
There we go.
The culprit may have used Amapal as a shield against the security system.
So, the culprit followed behind Amapal to avoid the toxic gas and explosions?
I get it! You're so smart, Master!
Really? I don't think so.
Hey! Master just showed off how smart and logical he is.
Amapal.
Even if Amapel itself is fine, it wouldn't be able to protect the culprit from the toxic gas.
Awesome, man.
Even though Amapel is sturdy, it couldn't withstand the high voltage shock from the panel chamber.
I think Famous's initial thing about that time rewind being important is
Which means it'd be impossible to use Amapel to protect yourself.
You're only realizing this now. At this rate, you'll be a grandpa before you stop being a rookie.
Perhaps you will improve in the next life.
I'm trying my best in this life.
So then it has to be neither. But it used Amapal to get in, technically. But it wasn't a weapon. I mean, a weapon for to go against the to beat the security system. I guess I could reason that.
Do you think neither is really the right answer?
Given the process of elimination, that must be it. Amapel's hands aren't designed to hold anything, so it couldn't use the knife to murder the doctor. Which means Amapel wasn't the murder weapon. And the culprit couldn't have used it as a shield. It can't neutralize the toxic gas, and the high voltage shock would destroy it.
So then, how did the culprit use Amapel?
I think we'll find out if we continue down this path.
That was the wrong answer? Come on, Master!
Oh, should be the right answer.
Ow!
Huh? We're...
We've been here before. It looks like we've been brought back.
But the door we opened earlier is closed again. Why's that?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Where was the culprit before the crime?
Huh? Even the question is the same. Does that mean we gotta do it all over again?
Well, the logic is still sound. There's no other hiding spot for the culprit besides the airlock.
So you want to choose the same answer and keep going?
If you do, you'll just repeat the whole process again.
Is it saying where was the culprit before committing the crime is in, like, but if I'm saying if he was riding on the robot, if he was standing on the robot or sitting on the robot, whatever, he's on the robot, technically that would be the answer. But it's semantics. Where was he before he was on there, you know?
We'll just be brought back here if we can't figure out how did the culprit use Amapau. And I refuse to walk any more than I have to.
Hey, don't sit down!
What should I do?
Stand up! Stand up right now!
Stop it. Leave me alone.
If you want me to leave you alone, then help my useless master out!
Useless.
Fine. Just one thing, then. We're back at... Where was the culprit before the crime? Because you're stuck at... How did the culprit use Amapau? With that in mind, these two questions are connected.
Connected? Both the culprit's location and how Amapel was used?
Help him out more! More!
The culprit was hiding in the airlock, where you also left the robot, right? At that moment, only the culprit and Amapau were there. So maybe the culprit did something.
Edmonds hit 42 home runs during the regular season. And we are going to Game 7 in the National League Championship Series.
Hey Sammy, I don't have any words after tonight's game, and the Guardians are probably officially out of the playoffs.
Well, it's not official yet, but pretty much they are. I appreciate the reset, Corey. 23 months. Much appreciated. Hope all is
Clues
well.
are always there, right under your nose. It's a detective's job to notice them. Did you notice anything strange back then? Any tiny detail? Try to remember.
Something strange. Hey, now that you mention it, back then...
Oh hey, the screen lit up. So this is what Amapal sees. It's like the cockpit of a mecha.
Whoa, what was that?
Did it break already? I thought it was state of the art.
No, it's alright. It's stabilized.
That right there.
There was a moment when the camera stopped functioning while I was controlling Amapal. It returned to normal pretty quick, but maybe...
See? I told you it was right under your nose. You don't need any additional help from me, right?
That was a clue to help solve this mystery?
Actually, everything in this world is a key to solving mysteries. You just haven't noticed them. Perhaps there is more you're overlooking. Was there anything else unusual?
The footprint on Amapal.
Something unusual. Something I missed.
Anything else? It's not like Amapal's camera showed the culprit.
Wait, that's it!
Huh?
Now that I think about it, wasn't that strange? The culprit must have gotten ahead of Amapal, but why didn't they ever show up on the camera? If the culprit went past Amapal to enter the doctor's lab, they would have been spotted for sure.
Now that you mention it...
But nobody showed up on camera. How did the culprit manage to pull that off? How can you move from the airlock to the doctor's lab without appearing even once on Amapal's camera?
Hey, aren't you just adding another mystery?
Adding a mystery but solving.
No. All the pieces are here.
Huh?
Yuma, the mysteries you face now can be solved with a single answer.
A single answer?
Sheesh. I talk too much.
Vivia. How did the culprit...
One mystery after another! What did you do now? It's a Pandora's box of mysteries!
Let's stay calm and think about it. There's plenty of time.
Is there?
Or not. I'll keep reading while you wrap things up.
Remember what he said, Master. All it takes is one answer to solve these mysteries. Use those weak brain cells of yours and think!
Culprit's location. Amapal's usage. Its malfunction. Why didn't the culprit appear on camera? All this can be solved with just one answer?
Well, at least Corey has started to see them a long time and a lot of time to try to figure it out. It definitely sucks for Nick though. On top. That's transportation. the head.
I got it!
Alright.
The culprit rode on Amapel's head, using it as a method of transportation.
That is extremely clever.
The door opened!
That is extremely
With every
clever.
open door, it will be harder for you to turn back. Are you sure you want to keep going?
Absolutely. I will find the truth no matter what. This is for the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
And then I think in one fantasy league, I think the one for...
Hey, you said the culprit rode on top of Amapel. What did you mean by that?
Literally what I said. The culprit rode Amapel and used it to get through.
I have J.K. Dobbins and Nick Chubb. I don't know if I'm allowed to have a running back on that team anymore because it's just two both done for the season. That's a big ouch. Big ouch.
After we left Amapel in the airlock, the culprit came out of the decontamination device. Then they jumped on Amapel's head. The disruption in the footage was from the impact.
That's insane.
That's actually really cool.
Is it? I think it's fairly reasonable. Amapel can withstand up to 100 kilograms of weight. So, someone riding on it shouldn't affect its functionality.
The shoe print on Amapel's head wasn't caused by someone kicking it.
Someone landing on
It
it.
was left there from the culprit hopping on and off.
After that, the culprit simply rode on it as it moved toward the doctor's lab. By doing so, the culprit was able to evade the camera and remain hidden as they made their way through the lab.
You're right. If it's true, then it does solve all of the previous mysteries.
But it sucks. It's just like,
Imagining the culprit riding on a robot makes me laugh.
But Yuma, have you not realized it? You're still missing something. One major mystery remains.
What's with that huge sigh?
The greatest mystery of this case should appear soon. Just the thought of it gets me feeling down.
you're kidding.
This case's greatest mystery?
So how you feeling about this case so far, Mr. Famous?
This is the panel chamber.
As I grab more cookies.
That means the doctor's lab is just beyond it.
Gotta put on my
If we
headset.
get through here, we'll reach the goal, yeah? Is this the greatest mystery you mentioned?
Not exactly what I was envisioning.
Nah.
Well, this is the mystery to be solved, so let's clear it out.
Beats me.
It wouldn't have been possible for them to get into the room ahead of us when we opened the door.
The culprit murdered the doctor before Amapel entered the room. Which means the culprit had to have gotten ahead of Amapel at some point. It was when the door first opened. At that moment, the culprit snuck into the doctor's room.
Yeah, when the doors were slowly opening, just like this. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Right. The moment there was enough space for a person to slip through, the culprit hopped off and went inside.
Poor doctor.
Like this?
I'll find somebody. I'll see what I do. You don't have to think about it. Got 2 days. Right.
We still haven't reached the goal. I thought we could get into the doc's lab now.
Man.
Is this a joke to you? Your deduction is full of holes.
Is it?
If this is a joke, it's not very funny.
Master, you know what to do.
Of course.
I'll take your garbage deduction and toss it in the trash. I am the saint of Kanai Ward, protecting it from filth like you!
Alright, Yuma, chill. Reasoning deathmatch. Babukis. Famous, you were right. You were right.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky. What, did they use some sort of special power?
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about the camera.
Speaking of...
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened,
Oh.
then slipped
Through the gap in the door.
Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
What, did they
Use some sort of special power?
Right.
No.
Was Almapal's camera even working? Does something seem off to you, Masters? Check the solution keys. Huh? Oh, yeah.
Culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door.
Thinking about...
Slaughter Artist.
The right one, but wrong spot.
Yeah.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened.
Opened.
Then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even to Fink the Slaughter Artist.
Think about it.
If Alapal
Line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it.
What's that
No
one?
one would do something so risky.
the crime would have been
Exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
That's right.
The
culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened. Then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even to Fink the Slaughter Artist. Think about it.
If Alapal's
Al's line of sight changed just a bit.
bit, the camera would have caught it. No
One would do something
so risky.
the crime
Crime would have
been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky, huh? What, did they use some...
sort of special power.
Didn't I do that before?
Speak...
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened. Then slipped through the gap in the door.
What am I doing wrong?
That's impossible, even to Fink the Slaughter Artist. Think about it. If just a bit. The camera would have caught it.
Was it that one?
No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky, huh? What, did they use some sort of special power? Right.
No.
For now. The culprit hopped off Amapow as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door.
That's impossible. Think the slaughter artist. Think about it.
If Amapow's line of
Sight changed just a bit.
Flash through this mystery.
I'll slice through this mystery.
Amapel is designed so that when its hand is stretched out, it won't execute any other inputs. That's why when it was pressing the button for the door, the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
You little maggots. Don't get so full of yourselves. You're not getting out of here alive.
I get it. So Amapow couldn't move while the door was opening.
Yep.
That's when the culprit took their chance.
Since the door opens outward, it's possible to take advantage of the blind spot it creates. That's how the culprit managed to stay outside the camera's view as they entered the doctor's room.
Then stabby stab.
So it's an elaborate murder that took advantage of Amapow's design, and even the direction the door opens. Whoever planned this must have really wanted the doctor dead. I guess you can call it an obsession. How scary. Just like this passageway. Where will it take us? Perhaps a suite with the culprit's obsession on full display. A room of nightmares.
Knock it off with the weird soliloquies. Let's go.
You're really going?
Huh?
This guy is showing up a lot.
Hey, Yuma. When the culprit entered the doctor's room while the door was open,
Huh? Yeah?
at the time, the doctor was in the room, right? If the door opened and an intruder entered, how could the doctor not have noticed?
So what if he did notice? It's not a big deal.
He's stabbed in the
Yes,
back.
It is. If he had noticed an intruder, the doctor would have turned to face him. Which means he wouldn't have been stabbed in the back.
That piece of trash is right. Your logic is flawed.
The doctor couldn't hear though.
Hey, what are you, on the Phantom side now?
Listen to
Yep.
my incredible words of wisdom. Your crappy deduction is worth less than shit! Everything you do is a fucking mistake!
I love this, Yomi. I love Yomi. I also saw MLB The Show tweeted out a congrats, so you know what that means. Not saying. Just saying. I'll have my Wainwright to use for the rest of the year.
Damn it! Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind. That's all impossible!
Master!
Yeah.
That was the one.
doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind.
Damn it. That is the one, though.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got it. It would have been nice if they would have scored more runs. But more importantly, I'm glad that it was done at home. It's the one thing that I would have wished
Even if the doctor could be stabbed,
if I wasn't being
it
selfish.
wouldn't be from behind.
That claim doesn't hold up.
If I wasn't being selfish, Pujols 700 should have been at home.
No, the culprit did stab the doctor in the back. That's how the body was discovered.
That's why I'm saying your deduction isn't consistent. By your logic, the doctor couldn't have been murdered in that way!
Yep, the information because he's hard of hearing. Could be considered death. Man, that's a shitty way to die, too.
Brick quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit.
And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back.
It was the one before I was supposed to slash. I figured since I missed it,
The culprit quickly entered the lab.
I'll just try.
But the doctor was in the
You
room at the
piece
time,
of
right?
trash.
There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy.
Say,
Yeah.
The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit.
and his chest would have
And stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming.
There we go.
This is the truth.
That was a long one. I mess around and die here.
Wait, the doctor had trouble hearing. That's why he didn't notice the intruder.
That's a tough way to go.
Now you're spouting nonsense. Say whatever you want, it won't save you. There's a gaping hole in your logic. And there's no way you're gonna fill it at this rate. Because you, more than anyone else, you're the one refusing to see the truth right before your eyes.
It's a pretty long Mystery Labyrinth.
What? I refuse to see the truth? Vivia said the same thing, but...
It's strange, don't you think? Isn't it about time you noticed that something's off here?
Huh?
You've solved many mysteries up to now, yet none of them are directly connected to the culprit's identity.
That's because the culprit is the hitman.
If that's the case, why haven't you reaped the hitman's soul? And that would end the labyrinth.
It's not that easy. The culprit will fight back, unless we solve all the mysteries first. Hang on. What are you getting at?
In my eyes, the reason a single mystery hasn't been directly connected to the culprit is because of Yuma's reluctance. It's pushing away the mysteries that lead to the culprit.
Huh?
Interesting.
Subconsciously, you're closing your eyes to the truth. That's why you haven't touched on the hole in your reasoning.
What hole?
Whatever, that's enough. Just ignore this guy and keep going.
It would make sense, because if you really think about it, if it was the chief, he knew Fubuki's forte. So you'd eat the toxic gas because you had no choice. But then you would also know if Amapao wasn't able to get through, they would just rewind time until they'd get through. So it makes sense that they would keep rewinding time, and he was aware of that. The only question is, how did he know that they would use Amapao?
Hey!
That is the one question that I have, and if that's answered, if it is him, and if that's answered, I'm curious to see how.
Yuma.
Jeez, go away!
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The huge hole in this investigation.
What are you...
He's kind of creepy
Just
right now.
ignore him.
Getting kind of creepy.
Let's review your deduction, shall we? The culprit took advantage of Amapao's locked position and entered the lab. And before the robot entered the room, that person stabbed the doctor from behind. However, they bumped into Amapao while escaping, causing it to fall over. That was obviously a mistake, but since it wasn't captured on video, they were able to avoid detection. After that, the culprit went inside the decontamination device in the airlock to hide from you.
That's correct. So what's the hole in my deduction?
It's before all of that. It remains the case's greatest mystery.
Which is?
How did the culprit get past security?
What?
We already told you that. The culprit rode on top of Amapao as Master controlled it and was taken all the way to the doctor's lab.
But if someone was riding on it, how did they get past the high voltage shocks in the panel chamber?
They kind of didn't.
Oh.
But they kind of did at the same time.
This is the end for you! You have nowhere left to go!
Oh, come on! Why now?
I won't let you maggots ruin the peace of Kanai Ward! As the king of Amaterasu Corporation and the guardian of Kanai Ward, I will stop you here and now!
Perhaps this too is an obsession. Why does he insist on covering up the truth? Tell me, what will you do, Yuma? Are you going to stay willfully blind?
Famous.
No, I'll fight. Whether it's subconscious or not, I won't look away from the truth. I'll find the truth no matter what. This is for the Chief and everyone at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Good luck! You'll never find it. You'll scurry around this labyrinth forever, like blind mice. You'll rot away in it, looking for an answer that will never come! Keep playing with your shit deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery. How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was
It has to be this.
always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security
Agreed.
system? No living human can breach it.
Don't need a human, you need a robot.
Flash through this mystery.
Are you finally done? Hopefully. I'm tired of fighting this guy. I like the design though, but like, just go away. How? Please.
A human could get past the panel chamber by using Fubuki's forte. In fact, that's how we got past the panels. The high voltage shocks kept destroying Amapel.
Someone doesn't seem very...
We reversed time every time that happened.
Uh-oh.
Correct. So whenever it was struck by the current, you went back in time. But while that was occurring, the culprit, a human, was riding on top of Amapel. That person was burnt to a crisp every time you failed.
But...
Which means you killed the culprit over and over again.
Vivia...
If only you had chosen to remain ignorant, I would have walked beside you in silence. But if you intend to seek the truth, then I must stand in your way.
Seriously?
What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
He's going to betray you, Master.
Betray me?
It's up to you, Yuma. This is your final chance to save the world you believe in. What are you going to do? It's time to decide your past and your future.
Why, Vivia?
Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Maybe...
Let me...
Ask you.
How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber?
Ow.
It's
Impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die.
Yep.
You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity. Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching Wesker.
This is the truth. If you pass through the toxic gas, you'll die. But you'll have 30 minutes before it kills you. Which means you could survive for 30 minutes.
Seems a lot softer in his voice now.
Don't tell me.
There are no gas masks here that can block this toxic gas, and no fortes that can nullify it. There's only one way you could get through it. You do nothing. You endure it in hopes of Amapel taking you to the next room.
Then the culprit didn't do anything to counteract it and just passed through the toxic gas?
It's the only explanation that makes sense. This is the truth. I can't believe it.
I think he knows now.
If the culprit really did just endure the toxic gas,
Then they...
the culprit is...
It appears you finally glimpsed the truth. Well, how does it feel to have your world shatter before your eyes? Isn't this what you wanted?
What's
Pretty
he
good,
talking
Marcus.
about?
Yours?
Yomi's mystery phantom and Vivia are both right. Subconsciously, I didn't want to know the truth.
Huh?
Up until now, the Mystery Labyrinth was withholding the mysteries that led to the culprit. And that's because it's a reflection of my own reluctance.
Master, what's wrong? Do you know who the culprit is? It's the hitman, right?
Nope.
The truth is worthless.
Okay, dude.
Nothing has less value in this isolated, rainy city. No one wants the truth. Not even you! Now, rot away and die right here! No one will get in my way. Kanai-wood, Amaterasu! They both belong to me!
It's been very, very interesting so far. Yeah, he knows. That's why, because his voice started getting softer once you start solving stuff towards the culprit's identity. So he's getting kind of quiet because he knows.
If the culprit carried out the crime like you deduced,
Ow.
then they should be dead from the toxic gas. But no one at the scene has died from poisoning. If you can understand that much, then what are you still doing here?
Okay, the timing is messing me up there.
You're right that no one in that lab died from that toxic gas. But that was part of the culprit's plan from the beginning. They planned to distort the facts of their death.
Yuma, are you sure you want to face the truth? Your world will fall apart. The world that you believed in.
Yeah, I have to catch up on wrestling because I didn't get to watch it. Well, I didn't get to. It was a personal choice, but yeah, I
Your
was
deduction is wrong.
paying attention to the Cardinals today.
Don't disturb the peace. It's not even worth debating. Is this the best you can do to refute it? Just give up and die!
No thanks.
This, I'll expose the truth!
They won 1-0. Contreras with a solo shot, and that gets Wayno.
The culprit misrepresented their death by using...
Win number 200 by pitching 7 shutout innings.
The culprit realized their plan would be exposed if someone in the lab died from toxic gas. So they used the hitman to cover up their own death.
Use the hitman?
Meaning, the hitman wasn't hired to assassinate the doctor. They were hired to cover up the culprit's death by toxic gas.
Huh? The hitman's target was the culprit? Not the doctor? But the doctor was stabbed by the knife with the inscribed F. Doesn't that belong to the hitman?
That will,
What we need is a similar knife.
that would make sense because you think about it, there was 3 stab wounds. He could have used the knife, but if you want to be really technical, it couldn't have happened that way. Unless they were, like, the hitman stayed in there, but I think only one person, they made like a note, only one person could fit in. Technically, the chief could have stabbed him twice, and then after he was already dead, Fink stabbed him.
The story of Fink the slaughter artist using a knife inscribed with the letter F is well known.
Nah, we leave it alone until we receive further orders. Did you see the knife stuck in his back? It's the one that Fink the slaughter artist uses, right? I've heard about his knives inscribed with the letter F.
So, it was all a ruse? The real culprit made it look like the hitman did it?
Not just that.
Stop. Stop, 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 stop! You useless garbage! To hell with detectives and the truth! I won't let you have your way in my city!
Dude, like, how many times do you have to slice you
There
down?
is no real culprit! Dr. Wesker was killed by the hitman!
Huh? What's going on? Who is the real culprit?
The real culprit. The real culprit is...
The time has finally come, Yuma. It's time for you to acknowledge what you've known all along. If the tiny crack spreads any further, the mirror will shatter, exposing the chaos of the real world. Knowing this, will you still expose the truth?
So here's the thing, even if you don't, he dies anyway. I mean, let's be honest. The chief's gonna die anyway because it's toxic gas. So, I mean, what's the difference? He dies from toxic gas or he dies from you killing him. Either way, he's dead. He's dead. So, I mean, just being from a logical standpoint, you could be seen as putting him out of his misery.
Then, show me your conviction.
the clues pointing to the identity of the hitman's target.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Does Makoto know?
All along.
Now, expose the truth. Do it if you want to burn the world down. Burn it down!
How to get that in there? One of us was gonna get it. Oh, now we're gonna play sad music too?
The bloodstained photo found in the hallway near the lab. There was a person pictured with a woman. That was the hitman's target. The real culprit behind this case. The blood obscured the person's face, but I know who it is. It could only be one person.
Chief Yaku.
Could only be...
How do you know? That person in the photo is the hitman's target. And who is it?
It's...
No. Stop!
Dude, give it a
Don't
rest.
you dare say another word! No one wants the truth!
I
Yep,
don't
huge
understand,
loss for the
but
Browns. Huge loss.
good luck, Master. I'm always by your side, haunting you.
Yomi, Chief, the Hitman. Who was the two culprit? Wow.
Huh?
Yako.
Wow.
Huh? Why? Why is Fuzzhead here?
Chief Yako was the only person attacked by the hitman in the lab. In other words, the Chief was the hitman's target. But Chief Yako tried to hide that photo by tossing it behind the houseplant. He hid it knowing it'd be an important clue. And that's because the person in the photo is Chief Yako himself. It was given to the hitman so he'd know his target, and the Chief tried to conceal it. Which means the blood covering the face on the photo was likely done on purpose.
Hold on, Master! Are you serious? You're really saying Fuzzhead is the culprit? Really? I don't buy it. You think he actually put together this elaborate murder? He's knocking on death's door just for this?
I don't want to believe it either, but there's no other way.
Don't forget this stuff.
Battle with Vivia. Why did Yaku send a death threat? The anemic vampire is going to throw questions at you back to back. Press the correct button when you think you've got the correct answer. You'll take damage if you avoid all assailing assaults.
The phantom vanished. The truth has been mostly exposed, and the labyrinth cannot function much longer. Anything I do now might not matter, but I'll do it anyway. Because it's something I must do. While the Chief takes his final breaths.
Vivia.
Yuma. If Chief Yako is the culprit, then what about that death threat?
Must pay for his sins with his life, and my blade shall be his atonement. Why would the Chief send it?
Why would the Chief send it? If he was the killer. Answer me, Yuma. That's not the reason. Answer me, Yuma. That's not the reason.
I'm over here thinking the dodge is a good thing. It's not. It was the first one then. Oh boy. Switchblade, a big switchblade
By
against a
sending that
sword.
note, everyone would believe the doctor's life was in danger, which was necessary for this sequence of events to take place. All the master detectives headed to the secret lab because of that note. Chief Yako brought them here to take advantage of their abilities and murder the doctor.
Huh? Their abilities?
For Buki and Deshihiko to get in.
The death threat wasn't sent just to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all?
The disguise ability. I'm really slow hitting the button. But it was to take advantage of Deshihiko with the disguise.
The note was sent to the peacekeepers because they were also part of the plan.
It's an elaborate plan.
When the peacekeepers received the note, they dispatched a lot of their personnel to the scene. The master detectives were able to take advantage of the commotion to enter the facility. They did it by disguising themselves as peacekeepers.
It would be convenient to have a lot of peacekeepers around if you want to get into the lab disguised as one.
This is why the peacekeepers also received the death threat.
Hey, you still want to do this? It's not too late to give up.
I am well aware of the danger. I haven't gotten this much exercise in a long time. But this is something I must do. I can't leave the chief like this.
Vivia.
Let's continue, Yuma. So, everyone disguised themselves as peacekeepers and entered the lab. You were already at the lab, and that's where you met up with the chief, right?
Yes, but we decided to split up after the blackout occurred.
Wait! That blackout should have caused a commotion. If we leave now, the peacekeepers will see us. I knew it. This place is crawling with them.
What do we do?
I'll draw their attention to buy some time. In the meantime, you two hurry to that doctor.
The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the airlock.
Was the blackout part of the plan? So the one who caused it, was that also the chief?
I think that was Fink. Because that would make sense. The lady said she saw a mysterious figure. And it was him.
The chief was with me in the security room at the time of the blackout. It's impossible for him to have caused it. So the only person it could be is the hitman. It must have been part of the job. He instructed the hitman to cause a blackout at a specific time.
But why?
It made us think the doctor was in danger, so we'd go check on him. We used Amapal and Fortes to get through the tight security system. Chief Yako had it all planned out from the start. He used us to break through the security so he could kill the doctor.
So, Master using Amapal and the Sheltered Skank's time rewinding ability at the panel chamber?
Still at the time of being
Was
serious.
all part of Fuzzhead's plan?
The only way to get past security was to use both Amapal and that Forte. The chief knew we'd figure that out.
I think it's more like he trusted us. He trusted that we would arrive at that conclusion.
I'm counting on you both. See you later.
Trust?
Hmm.
How could this be a trust thing? He was clearly taking advantage of you all. He gathered the master detectives using a fake death threat, then used their Fortes to commit murder. What a scumbag! He used you all to get away with murder!
But the question is
Of
why?
all the criminals I've ever met, he's the worst coward of them all! Master, grab that coward and...
Enough!
Hmm.
Why did it have to come to this? Chief Yako saved me. He took me in. I had lost everything, even my memories. Sure, he may have been a little pushy at times, but still, I really admired him. So, why? Why did you do it? Is this about the woman in the picture? Chief, please tell me, or
There's no point in asking. That's just a mystery phantom. It's not the real Fuzzhead. Master, watch out!
The phantoms are a reflection of the same people in the real world, right? Which means he should hold the same thoughts.
Hmm.
The photo behind the houseplant. I don't know what the chief was hiding. But that photo must have been dropped by the hitman after he was done with it. The chief picked it up and used his own blood to obscure the face. He knew the truth would be exposed if that photo was found, so he hid it behind the potted plant. He left his blood on it, almost like he wrote a dying message. But in truth, it was actually a secret he wanted to keep hidden.
Master, I think you know this, but to exit the Mystery Labyrinth, you will have to eliminate the culprit.
eliminate the chief?
Are you really going to do this? After all the mysteries are solved, the chief back in the real world will die. But you saw yourself, Yuma. The chief is already knocking on death's door. will you still bury him in the name of truth?
The chief took me in when I had no memories, or anyone to turn to. I trusted him from the bottom of my heart. Now, I have to end his life?
You know, I liked it, surprisingly. The little bit of peace and quiet I found at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Vivia, you knew the truth behind this case from the very beginning.
I had a hunch. Because of my spectral projection, I knew the chief had been planning something for quite some time. But I pretended not to see. I admired him and the world he had made.
That's why you threatened me, and were so uncooperative in the investigation.
I knew you would reach the truth eventually, Yuma. But I tried my best to keep you away. Exposing the truth won't save anyone. Neither the chief nor you.
Master, you've already come this far. You've got to finish this. What'll happen to the other master detectives if you die here? Didn't you say you wanted to expose the truth and save everyone?
You can't save everyone. You never can save everyone when you expose the truth.
You told me that the time would come when I'd have to prove my conviction. The conviction to accept the truth, no matter how cruel it may be.
I feel like the picture really helped be
Now is that time,
the big deterrent.
Yes, and yet you intend to continue. If you're prepared for it.
Hey! You better not get in Master's way again!
I feel like once you saw the picture, like I realized that was Chief right away.
Do you remember when the Chief's soul called out to us?
Huh?
Give me the words.
Yeah, the truth is cruel. Never in history has the truth been known to be kind. But you know what? Turning your eyes away from the truth and living a lie is harsh too. In the end, you can never look away from the truth. As long as you live, you must face that pain. So really, what's the point of worrying so much about it? When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I always averted my eyes from the truth. For my own sake. My own peace and quiet. But I could never say with confidence that I was proud of myself. In the end, I was just running away from everything. That's why I entrust this to you, Yuma.
Entrust what?
You signed a pact with the Death God in your desire for the truth. I want to see your conviction. As long as you don't stray from exposing all truth, I believe you'll be able to face it, cruel as it may be. I want to see it through to the end. It's why I followed you here. In that sense, we're accomplices. If you must bring down the chief, then I will lend a hand. I won't avert my eyes any longer. I, too, want to live with my head held high. Because I, too, am a detective.
Vivia.
when you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I understand, Chief Yako. Thank you for everything you've done for me!